Proposition 16 allows diversity as a factor in public employment, education, and contracting decisions. Legislative constitutional amendment. Plain language, allow government agencies to make policies and/or hire based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, and national origin. The background. The legislative analyst kind of loaded this one down, so I'm going to do some condensing here. Long ago, back in the 90s, it was legal in public employment, public education, and public contracting in California to hire based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin. Basically, California was using affirmative action back then for women and minorities. Then voters passed Prop 209 in 1996 and made that illegal. So now the government can't do that except for a few special cases. For example, the state can consider the sex of an employee when staffing specific jobs at state prisons where it's necessary for staff and inmates to be the same sex. Additionally, state and local entities can consider specified characteristics when it's required to receive federal funding. For example, the state has transportation projects that are federally funded, and part of the federal requirements are that the contractors have to involve businesses owned by women and people of color. So you can't generally do affirmative action, but there are a couple exceptions. Although it's mostly illegal to use affirmative action today, there is some leeway in colleges. For example, public universities can consider race as one part of their admission process in an effort to make their campus more diverse. But whenever affirmative action is used, certain federal regulations need to be followed to prevent discrimination that violates equal protection. Also, once Prop 209 passed and universities couldn't openly and blatantly admit students based on race anymore, they got clever and started doing things like making special admissions for students who would be the first in their family to attend college, or admitting based on what high school a student went to or where they live, and that kind of workaround is acceptable. Long story short, it used to be legal to factor race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin into California government business or other activities, but then voters shut that down. And now they want to open it back up for diversity. Here's our Prop 16 trivia question. 2 states in America are not majority white. California became the second of these in 2000. What is the other state that is not majority white? Secondarily, list as many female or minority governors of California as you can, and you'll get 1 point for each one you can think of before the end of this proposition. Stay tuned for the answers. What does it do? If approved, this measure would repeal Prop 209, Section 31 of Article 1 of the California Constitution, and this would eliminate the ban on the consideration of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public education, public employment, and public contracting. As a result, state and local entities could establish a wider range of policies and programs so long as they are consistent with federal and state law related to equal protection. Hello, if you're new, this is just one video in a complete election playlist. Check out the description below to view the whole playlist and access free aids to help make your voting process fun and efficient. Fiscal impact. There is no real fiscal impact to this measure for the foreseeable future because this measure would not require any change to current policies or programs. Instead, any fiscal effects would depend on future choices by state and local entities to implement policies or programs that consider race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public education, public employment, and public contracting. Our country has seen so much struggle and unrest in recent months. Despite all of the hurt and racial division, there are things that unite us and bring us together as one America.
I'm white with blonde hair, and I donate to the Darryl Johnson Show.
दो लोग आपस में लड़ाई कर रहे थे तो उसमें से एक शख्स ये कहने लगा
한국人我住在北京2个年
Mannen Kitana Nimor, Spasmal Chasiniaki Hios.
We may have our differences in skin color and genitalia, but we can all donate to the Darryl Johnson Show on PayPal or Patreon. $50, $25, $10, $5. Show your diversity of currency on PayPal or Patreon today. From Yes on Prop 16. Yes on Prop 16 means equal opportunity for all Californians. All of us deserve equal opportunity to thrive with fair wages, good jobs, and quality schools. Despite living in the most diverse state in the nation, white men are still overrepresented in positions of wealth and power in California. Although women, especially women of color, are on the front lines of the COVID-19 response, they are not rewarded for their sacrifices. Women should have the same chance of success as men. Today, nearly all public contracts and the jobs that go with them go to large companies run by older white men. White women make 80 cents on the dollar. The wage disparity is even worse for women of color and single moms. As a result, an elite few are able to hoard wealth instead of investing it back into communities. Prop 16 opens up contracting opportunities for women and people of color. We know that small businesses are the backbone of our economy, yet Main Street businesses owned by women and people of color lose over $1.1 billion in government contracts every year because of the current law. We need to support those small businesses, especially as we rebuild from COVID-19. Wealth will be invested back into our communities. Yes on Prop 16 helps rebuild California stronger with fair opportunities for all. Yes on Prop 16 means supporting women and women of color who serve disproportionately as essential caregivers, frontline workers during COVID-19. Expanded access to solid wages, good jobs, and quality schools for all Californians, regardless of gender, race, and ethnicity. Creating opportunities for women and people of color to receive public contracts that should be available to all of us. Improving access to quality education, K-12 schools, and higher education for all California's kids. Taking action to prevent discrimination and ensure equal opportunity for all. Rebuilding an economy that treats everyone equally. Investing back into our communities as opposed to continuing to allow the rich to get richer. Strong anti-discrimination laws remain in effect. Quotas are prohibited. We live in the middle of an incredible historic moment. In 2020, we have seen an unprecedented number of Californians take action against systemic racism and voice their support for real change. Californians agree. Everyone deserves equal opportunity to succeed, regardless of their gender, what they look like, or where they were born. We agree that women should be paid the same as men, and that all children, regardless of their background or skin color, deserve access to a great school. The opposition uses deceptive language to claim that they care about California's future. In fact, their approach would take us backward. Expand career and educational opportunities in science and technology for girls. At the same time, our shared values are under attack by the Trump administration's policies. We are seeing the rise of overt racism, white supremacists on the march, the daily demonization of Latino immigrants, black people gunned down in our streets, anti-Asian hate crimes on the rise, women's rights under attack, and COVID-19 ravaging Native communities. By voting yes on Prop 16, Californians can take action and push back against the Trump administration's racist agenda and against sexism and create a more just and fair state for all of us. Equal opportunity matters. Yes on Prop 16. And now the answer to our trivia question. Again, 2 states in California are not majority white. California became the second of these in 2000. What is the other state that is not majority white? Secondarily, list as many female or minority governors of California and you'll get 1 point for each. The answer is Hawaii. If you guessed Hawaii, you get 1 point, plus 1 point for every female or minority governor that you were able to think of, and that should be 0 because there are none. Then add them up together, and that's how many points you'll get for this proposition. From No on Prop 16. The California legislature wants you to strike these precious words from our state constitution. The state shall not discriminate against or grant preferential treatment to any individual or group on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in the operation of public employment, public education, or public contracting. Don't do it. Vote no. Those words, adopted by California voters in 1996 as Proposition 209, should remain firmly in place. Only by treating everyone equally can a state as brilliantly diverse as California be fair to everyone. Repeal would be a step backward. Discrimination of this kind is poisonous. It will divide us at a time when we desperately need to unite. Politicians want to give preferential treatment to their favorites. They think that they can fix past discrimination against racial minorities and women by discriminating against other racial minorities and men who are innocent of any wrongdoing. Punishing innocent people will only cause a never-ending cycle of resentment. The only way to stop discrimination is to stop discriminating. Help those who really need it. Not every Asian American or white is advantaged. Not every Latino or black is disadvantaged. Our state has successful men and women of all races and ethnicities. Let's not perpetuate the stereotype that minorities and women can't make it unless they get special treatment. At the same time, our state also has men and women of all races and ethnicities who could use a little extra break. Current law allows for affirmative action of this kind so long as it doesn't discriminate or give preferential treatment based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin. For example, state universities can give a leg up to students from low-income families or students who would be the first in their family to attend college. The state can help small businesses started by low-income individuals or favor low-income individuals for job opportunities. But if these words are stricken from our state constitution, the University of California will again be free to give a wealthy lawyer's son a preference for admission over a farm worker's daughter simply because he's from an underrepresented group. That's unjust. Give taxpayers a break. Prior to the passage of Prop 209, California and many local governments maintained costly bureaucracies that required preferential treatment in public contracting based on a business owner's race, sex, or ethnicity. The lowest qualified bidder could be rejected. A careful peer-reviewed study by a University of California economist found that Caltrans contracts governed by Prop 209 saved 5.6% over non-209 contracts in the 2-year period after it took effect. If the savings for other government contracts were anywhere near that, repealing this constitutional provision could cost taxpayers many billions of dollars. Tom Campbell says, "This proposition will allow California's public universities to keep students out because of their race in order to help students of another race get in. That's currently illegal. Berkeley's business school was rated amongst the best for recruiting minority graduates, and we did it without using race. We also gave no favoritism to children of donors, alums, or politicians. We were strictly merit-based. That's how it should stay. I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican." From Leo Terrell, "I am a black man, civil rights attorney for 30 years, lifelong Democrat, now independent. Proposition 16 is a scam to use government money to benefit politically connected high-bid contractors who are supposedly minority or who hire a so-called minority as window dressing. Taxpayers get shafted when we certainly don't need to favor one race over another in government jobs, promotions, or layoffs. And for education, let's help those who need it regardless of race." From Kaylee Fontanilla, "My father was a Jamaican immigrant, but I was raised in poverty by my single mother. My husband is Mexican-Puerto Rican. We are proudly multiracial. An honors multi-degreed University of California graduate, I tutored black students in Compton. Now I help Latinos enter UC on merit like I did, not quotas. Proposition 16 is a giant step backward, would hurt the very students we want to help. There is no need to lower standards. I love teaching, but Proposition 16 would totally disrupt K through 12. Don't divide us, unite us, vote no." Equal rights are fundamental. Prohibiting preferential treatment based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin is a fundamental part of the American creed. It's there in our Constitution for all of us, now and for future generations. Don't throw it away, vote no. Okay guys, as you know, I add my video, What is an Opinion, to the top of each election playlist now because, well, I know you people. So let me remind you that you are about to hear an opinion. If that is something you are not prepared to tolerate, I ask you to take either a moment to prepare yourself or just visit the playlist link in the description box below and proceed to Proposition 17. Fun stuff happening over there. Alright, now that those guys are gone, we can stop racism together. Let's stop it. Where's my rainbow? Okay. Now we can celebrate diversity. We can stop the hate and bigotry of hiring someone based on their resume. My opinion on this is two-sided. I'm actually very libertarian on hiring laws. I think that a business owner should be free to hire or fire whoever for whatever reason. So if you want to hire an office of only gay, transgender, handicapped Hispanics, you should be able to do that. Or if you want to hire using blind auditioning, do that. It's your company, your property, your rules. But for the government, I have a different set of beliefs. I don't think that the government should get into the business of discriminating based on race or nationality. I don't necessarily think it's racist or sexist or whatever for the government to hire based on immutable characteristics, but I don't think it's a good idea. Policies like this will only fan the flames of social unrest, and it will ultimately tarnish the perception of minorities who will be assumed to be affirmative action hires whenever they achieve anything. Plus, how would you like to apply to be a post officer and then get told, sorry, we're only hiring black women at this branch, or sorry, this is the Hispanic DMV, but feel free to try that one over in Palos Verdes, or well, Connor, you've got an established track record and you deserve this promotion, but Veronica's a woman, so better luck next time. I don't think this is the way forward for us. What makes this even worse is that it's the government. The government is the top of the chart. That's the one entity where you should be able to hope that they would play fair. And to have the government going around denying perfectly qualified people their dreams based on physical qualities that are popular at the time doesn't feel right to me. The government should be blind to these things. Everyone should be able to expect an equal chance at whatever it is from the government. And my heart goes out to all of the Asians who drive themselves insane, getting 4.3 GPAs and joining every club and getting 5,000 on the SAT and learning to play the violin and then being told, sorry, we're good on Asians, we're going to take someone else because they have different skin. If you're calling someone racist for selecting based on merit, who is more racist? Someone who selects the person with the highest qualifications, or someone who thinks that minorities will automatically lose when their merits are compared against white people? If you vote yes on Prop 16, state employers will be permitted to hire and contract and do other things based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, and national origin. If you vote no on Prop 16, they will not be able to do that. The Darryl Johnson Show says no on Prop 16.